Hi, welcome to the Popular Podcast. I'm Philip. Before we move on, let's see what's going on in the mailbag. Jeremy V asks, what's your favorite backdrop for television? Hi, Jeremy. I think it definitely depends, but typically, especially if it's a drama set in the, quote, real world, I think I prefer the setting of a city. There's so many textures to be found. Like you can do a lot with exterior street footage, plus you have a built-in excuse to feature interesting architecture or uniquely designed spaces. You got parks, rooftop gardens, and there's all kinds of practical lighting opportunities, from street lamps to neon signs. Throw in some smoke coming from a manhole, and you've got a really great urban atmosphere. Sadly, some shows don't take advantage of the variety a city has to offer. For instance, I'm not always a huge fan of the chilly color palette that's always applied to London. I understand it's a really overcast, often dreary place, but can we find some visual warmth? It's like they're so preoccupied with presenting the grit and the modernity of the city, they can't find time for anything that radiates any warmth or cheer. I mean, not even a candle or a cheap sodium bulb? Just more gray on an icy bluish-gray palette? All right, London. I'm tired. I guess it's time for sleep. Well, I completed the sleep challenge. It took a lot of sleepless nights, but I did it. Wrapping up this experiment, in which I tried to keep the same sleep schedule every night, exercise at least 30 minutes a day, and stay off electronics the hour prior to sleeping, got me thinking about the nature of sleep. Like, what is it? Why is it? In fact, I looked up the definition of sleep, and I got a few good results, all of which seem pretty apt in their own way. Like this one. Sleep. The natural suspension, complete or partial, of consciousness. I'm pretty sure that describes my waking life too. Or how about this one? Sleep. To be careless or unalert. To allow one's alertness, vigilance, or attentiveness to lie dormant. Am I asleep right now? Sure seems like it. This might be my favorite definition of sleep. Sleep, to lie in death. Sweet, sweet sleep. Another fun result of the challenge is that I won a raffle prize for completing all 3 weeks. The prize I got was a wake-up light that simulates sunrise to help you wake up more naturally. It also includes some built-in alarm sounds. After listening to all the sounds, I ended up deciding between chirping birds and a slow flute rendition of the Florida State War chant. Both were soothing, but I went with the birds. I've only used the lamp for one morning, but it was nice. It started with a dark orange glow that slowly eased me awake until I was getting blasted in the face by a bright white light with birds chirping loudly right next to my ear. I think what I actually learned, or maybe confirmed from this challenge, is that I do need to stick to a more regular routine. That said, there are some areas of my life I don't want to keep on a strict schedule, even if my own health and well-being are at stake. Just let me go to bed when I want to. The list of things I can control seems to get shorter every year, and I'd like to keep my bedtime on that list. Well, you've caught me in my backyard, and I'm eating a meal that spans space, time, and reason. I call it a meal anachronism. Let me just run down the menu. Alright, I got some garlic chicken spring rolls from Lean Cuisine. There's also some dried dates drizzled with honey found in an Egyptian tomb. I also have some grub worms, some unleavened bread, some freeze-dried ice cream, and to wash it all down, a flagon of warm mead. I'm cooking everything over an open fire, fueled by some oxen's dung. I'm not finished eating yet, but this is shaping up to be the worst meal of my life. Now, it's time to imagine. Okay, before we begin, you have to shut your eyes. Just let your eyes really congeal closed. Okay, here we go. Imagine you're a young girl named Marcette. You live in a small fishing village on the outskirts of a large whaling town. Everything where you live is fishy. No, not like that. I just mean it's all about fish. It's just about everyone's trade, just about everyone's life. It's a fishing village after all. Every day you get up so early that it still feels late. Most folks aren't well off enough to have their own boats, so they usually hire themselves and their nets out to work on someone else's. A lot of families, including yours, live in small huts near the water. It's just before dawn. You wake up to hear your father humming a soft tune in his rich baritone. He's heating up a kettle of water that's just started simmering. Your father's an olive-skinned, heavy-set, and frankly hairy man with thick, wide jowls, frenzied whiskers, and kind tanzanite eyes. He runs a small family business, fixing old typewriters. He hears you rustling around on your mat and lets you know breakfast is almost ready. He's always taking good care of you and your little brother Paolo, and he does it by himself. It's been almost 6 years since you lost your mother in a storm that claimed the lives of almost half the village. If it weren't for your mother's sacrifice to the Sky Witch, it's likely no one would have made it. You and Paolo take a seat at the small wooden table squashed against the wall of your hut. Your father pours steaming water into 2 bowls and stirs up their contents. He gently rests a bowl in front of you and one in front of Paolo, who's already started to nod off again. Porridge isn't your favorite, but it beats starting out the day hungry, and you're no stranger to that feeling. You know you'll need your energy today. There's a lot to do, a lot to think about. Finishing up your chores at home, going to school, and then there's the matter of the bounty on your father's head. He still doesn't know about it, and you intend to keep it that way. After all, you're used to keeping secrets from father. I like that. I hope you did too. Remember, there's always time to imagine. Okay, lastly, it's time for household tips. Flossing usually takes 2 hands, unless you're using one of those floss picks. Brushing your teeth, on the other hand, tends to be a one-handed operation. When I brush my teeth, I like to do little chores, like putting socks in the laundry, pulling clothes out of the closet, hanging towels back up, putting shoes away, letting the dog in or out, or making the bed in that way where you just pull the sheets back up, but it's not really making the bed. The point is, I've done all kinds of things while also brushing my teeth, and you can too. So again, here's the tip. If you have 2 hands and some one-handed tasks to do them while brushing your teeth. Okay, that's it for another Pop Filler. Thanks for listening, and remember, you'll be fine. Warm mead.